Hi everybody, it's Samantha, and as you know, Halloween is quickly approaching, and I love Halloween, and I kind of spookified my room. I don't really know if you can see it, but there's like bats and then the trees, and then I got some of these little spiders that I have back there. I'm not sure if you can see them, I think they're right there. And then on my bookshelf it says boo, and so I love Halloween, and I love decorating for Halloween. And so in honor of Halloween, I thought it would be kind of a cool idea to do a little spooky story time. And I'm going to tell you the story about the first haunted house I ever went to. And it was last year and I was 13. Okay, so last year, I'm pretty sure it was the weekend before Halloween, my dad took a few of my friends and I to a haunted house called Scream Park that's in town. On the way there, I just remember being like so pumped about it because it was my first haunted house, and I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be so cool, even though like I'm terrified of being terrified. Like, I don't really like being scared, but I was just so excited for it. And the friends that I was going with had been to a haunted house before, and they're like, oh man, it's not gonna be that scary. And I'm like, okay. So when we finally got there, they had several different attractions. I think there were 4 of them. And so we saw one with like the longest line, so we thought like that must be like the coolest one in the place. And so we decided to get in line for that one first. And as we were walking up to get in line, they have like a spooky like character standing outside of each attraction like before the line starts. And so I thought we were just gonna be able to like go in and it was gonna be like, oh okay, yeah, thank you, I'm gonna get in the thing now. But no, that didn't happen. He took his axe or whatever he had and kind of started like chasing us around. I don't remember if it was us or it was just me that he was chasing. Okay, so how the first one that we went on started was that they had 2 doors that opened like that, and it was like complete darkness inside, and every time as we were getting like closer and closer to it, we were watching other groups go in, and like right as they walked in, we would start hearing like noises, and so that really scared me. And so before we walked in, we got in like a line and like all like linked arms and then walked in together. I was like on the outside and I was kind of terrified of that because there's like people in the middle and there's people on the outside, and so when you're on the outside, that's when things can like jump out and like grab you, or like you're just kind of more vulnerable that way. But it ended up being fine because like nothing was like right there. I thought there was going to be something, but it wasn't. And throughout the whole thing, there were just like a bunch of elevators and like it was like these rescue team guys that were like saving us from these zombies or something. And then okay, so once we got outside of, like, there was a little doorway and you stepped out and then you were suddenly outside and there was like a dirt pathway, but it was a caged pathway, and then there was like a cage ceiling, and this is where you are, and then on the other side of the cage was like chainsaw noises were happening, and like things were like clawing at the cage, and things would like jump out and stuff, but like nothing could get to you. And so that's kind of what was scary, is that like you were thinking they were gonna get to you, but they weren't. And so I don't really know how this happened, but my friends ended up in front of me and I was behind them, and there was this couple that was with us, like in the group with us that they let in. And so as we were going, something would like jump out, and then like the girl would like grab onto my arm, and I didn't know them, but they were grabbing onto me, and so I grabbed back onto them. The guy grabbed onto me too, because like we were all just kind of scared. I don't know where my friends were at this point, because like in the cage thing, it kind of went like that, and like they were up like a long way, like I couldn't see them anymore, and I was just stuck like grabbing onto this couple in the back. But it actually kind of made me feel better, because like they were obviously scared and I was obviously scared, and so we were kind of just all scared together. But then we finally got out, and we ran. The way you like got out was you ran down like the dirt thing away from the thing chasing you with the chainsaw, and so then we got out and it was all good. So then the next house we went into was supposed to be kind of like a high school themed type thing, and so that one wasn't that scary for me, because 2 of my friends that I went with, every time we'd walk into one of the rooms, they'd like try to make it funny or something. Like some girl would be sitting in a rocking chair with like half of her face like melted off, and then one of my friends would walk in and be like, oh my god, you look so good, and it just kind of like took the like frightening part of it out of it for me, which was actually good, because I would have been very scared without that. And actually one of the people, because it was supposed to be like the high school thing, and so then one of them was like a cheerleader like at prom or something, and we ended up dancing with the girl in there. So that was fun. Okay, so then the last one we went in was the clown house, and I don't appreciate clowns at all. And so for some reason at the beginning, we decided it would be a good idea to sign the waiver that allows them to touch us. And I don't really think I knew what I was getting myself in for. But so we started to walk in, and it wasn't that bad at first, although like it was kind of like hurting my eyes because there were a bunch of bright colors and like lights and stuff, and everything just looked really neon. But it wasn't that bad, and like things were just kind of like hiding up like in like the ceiling and like looking down at us and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. And then one clown like came and was like following me for like almost half of the thing, and it was like grabbing onto my shoulders kind of occasionally and like touching me, and I was like, no. So then at one part of the house there was this, so like we were all going through it, and one of my friends somehow kind of ended up behind us, and there was this clown that had like already like scared us, and then she hadn't gotten scared by him yet, and so he was like coming towards her and somehow like cornered her, and she ended up like in a little ball like this in the corner, and like he wouldn't let her out. And I don't know if she was like screaming or just kind of like saying like, stop, please, like get away. And so my dad ended up having to go and like tell the guy like, get off of her, like stop doing that, because she was obviously scared and like he wasn't letting her go. That really wasn't the best thing, but yeah, after that we kept going, and it was almost the end of it, and so everyone was like getting to like the end, and it was just like, it was kind of black everywhere, and then suddenly we hear the noise of a chainsaw going, of course, because just everything has to be chainsaws, you know. And so we hear a chainsaw going, and we all start running, and so there were two different pathways, and I was actually about to go out everyone was going out one of them, and I'm like, you know what, since everyone's going out one, I should go out the other one. But I'm glad I didn't do that, because that would have just led to nowhere, and I would have been kind of stuck in there. So I went out the pathway everyone else did, and I'm pretty sure I was the last person out, and of course I trip over the door frame, and I land in the rocks and the dirt that were outside, and so I busted my knee open, and it was like bleeding everywhere, and I was holding it, and I was like on the ground like in a little ball like holding my knee. And so then of course that's when one of the clowns decides to come up and stick a chainsaw in my face multiple times, and just is like kind of doing that, and I'm like holding my bleeding knee, and I'm like, don't. And I'm just kind of saying like, stop, and like he's not stopping. And so then eventually he like moved on to someone else, and I got up and I'm like, okay, well, I'm bleeding. And all my friends came over and they're like, oh my god, that was so fun. And then I was like, yeah, very fun, you see, I'm bleeding everywhere. So now that I know a little bit more about haunted houses, I hope to go to another one this year. So I hope you enjoyed my story time in my first haunted house, and if you did, let me know, because then I'll do more story times. And if you've ever been to a haunted house, let me know down in the comments if anything crazy happened while you were there. So as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a spooky Halloween. Bye.